I didn't expect Gran Betty to say it like that. We were sitting at her kitchen table, the same one with the tiny crack in the corner, and I was halfway through explaining everything I'd been doing. The saving challenges, the budgeting apps, cutting back on little treats. I thought she'd nod, maybe even say I was on the right track. Instead, she stirred her tea slowly and asked, "How long have you been doing all that?" "A while," I said. She looked up. "And how much further ahead are you?" I opened my mouth, and then closed it. Because the truth was, I didn't have a good answer. She nodded, like she already knew. "Most people don't have a money problem," she said. "They have a pattern problem." Then she added almost casually, "By the time we finish this tea, I'll show you why everything you've tried feels right, but doesn't work." That's what hooked me. Because she was right. It did feel right. It just wasn't getting me anywhere. I told her about the trends, the envelope challenges, the systems that promise if you just stay consistent, everything will change. She listened patiently, then asked, "Do those systems work when you're tired?" I hesitated. "Do they work when life gets busy? When you're stressed? When you don't feel like it?" "Then they're not systems," she said. "They're moods." That one stayed with me, because she's right. Most of what we're shown only works when we feel motivated, and motivation is unreliable. Gran Betty always says, "Excitement makes you start. Systems are what make you finish." But I didn't fully buy it yet. I remember thinking, it can't be that simple, there must be more to it. So I pushed back. I said, "But isn't it good to stay engaged, to track things, to be active with your money?" She smiled, not in a dismissive way, but like she'd heard this 100 times before. People don't fail because money is complicated. They fail because they keep trying to outsmart simple things. I didn't like that answer. Because it meant the problem might not be the tools. It might be how I was using them. A few days later, I tried to improve her idea. I kept the automation, but I added extra tracking, daily check-ins, tweaks, adjustments. For about a week, I felt in control. Then life got busy. I missed a day, then another. Then I stopped checking altogether. And slowly, everything slipped back to how it was. When I told Gran Betty, she didn't say, "I told you so." She just said, if a system breaks the moment you stop paying attention, it was never holding you up. That was the moment it clicked. I didn't need something more advanced. I needed something more reliable. So we went back to her way. She called it a no-thinking system. The moment money comes in, it moves. Automatically, no decisions, no delays, no relying on willpower. A portion goes straight into savings. A portion goes straight into investments. And what's left is safe to spend. If you have to think about doing the right thing, you'll eventually talk yourself out of it. At first, it felt almost too simple. No excitement, no sense of control, no daily involvement. I told her it felt a bit boring. Boring is what works. You don't want a system that feels good. You want one that keeps working when you don't. Now, let me pause for a second. Because this is the part where most people switch off. This is where it stops being entertaining and starts being useful. But if you stay with me here, this is where things actually change. Gran Betty didn't just give me a system, she gave me rules. Simple ones, the kind you can actually follow. She calls them her 4 rules. Make it automatic, because if it's manual, it's optional. Make it invisible, because what you don't see, you don't spend. Make it boring, because excitement fades. But systems don't need to feel exciting. Make it repeatable, because anything that relies on perfect behavior will eventually fail. Those 4 rules changed everything. And once I started applying them, I began noticing something else. Most of what I thought was being good with money wasn't actually helping. I showed her one of those perfectly organized restock videos. Everything labeled, everything matching. She barely glanced at it. Buying things to feel in control of your money, she said, is not the same as being in control. Then she added, if it doesn't increase your net worth or reduce your stress, it's not helping your money. That line stuck, because it forced me to question everything. Every purchase, every habit, every helpful tool. Then I told her I'd been cutting back on small things, coffee, snacks, little treats, trying to save more. She waved her hand slightly. You're focusing on the wrong end of the problem. You're not behind because you spent a few pounds. You're behind because no one showed you the bigger levers. She had me write them down. Increase what comes in. Control where it goes automatically. Give it somewhere better to grow. That's it. Everything else is noise. Around that time, I noticed something else. A friend of mine had tried 3 different saving challenges in 2 months. Each one started strong. Each one faded quickly. When I told Gran Betty, she just nodded. If you keep restarting, you're not building. You're rehearsing failure. That one hit harder than I expected. Because I realized I'd been doing the same thing, just in different ways. Starting, stopping, starting again. Always feeling like I was trying, but never actually building. So I asked her something more direct. What actually happens if someone doesn't fix this? Nothing. Nothing happens. And that's the problem. Years go by. You stay busy. You stay comfortable. And one day you realize you've built a life that depends on you working forever. That sat quietly between us. Because it wasn't dramatic, it was realistic. And that's what made it uncomfortable. Then she softened her tone. I'm not telling you this to scare you, she said. I'm telling you because small changes now save you from big regrets later. Then she said, right, enough talking. Let's make this practical. She had me do one thing. Open a separate account. Rename it something I wouldn't ignore. Mine is called Do Not Touch. Set an automatic transfer for the same day money comes in. Done in under 10 minutes. If you see it, she said, you'll spend it. If you don't, you'll build it. No complexity. No overthinking. Just something that works. And here's the part I didn't expect. After a few weeks, I stopped thinking about money all the time. Not because I didn't care, but because I didn't have to. The system was handling what used to rely on effort. And that's when I remembered what she said at the start. The thing she promised to explain before the tea was finished. So what's the real problem then? You don't rise to your financial goals, you fall to your financial systems. That's it. That's the difference. Not more effort, not more hacks, not more tracking. Better systems. Simple ones. Repeatable ones. The kind that work quietly in the background. So if you've made it this far, don't just watch this and move on. Do one thing. Right now. Set up that automatic transfer. Fix one system. Make one decision your future self doesn't have to think about again. Gran Betty always says, a small decision, repeated, will beat a big decision you never make. If this has changed how you think, even slightly, like the video so more people stop falling for the same traps, share it with someone who's trying, but stuck doing all the right things that aren't actually working, and subscribe, because Gran Betty has a lot more to say, and she doesn't waste words on things that don't hold up. And go and watch the rest of Gran Betty's Money Wisdom series, because this was just one cup of tea. And as Gran Betty would say, wealth isn't about what you know, it's about what you do without thinking about it. The kettle's still on. You might as well stay. I didn't expect Gran Betty to say it like that,